Alright, welcome back everyone. This is an art talk and my name is Zero. And for this one, I want to go through this like a master copy slash, study slash, doing my own like painting and trying to push the painting further, experimenting a lot. So this is based on, Sana from Twice, one of the girl groups, one of my favorites, and she's one of my, bias as well. Bias meaning the favorite members of the group. She's Japanese, and the other girl that's Japanese within the K-pop group is Momo. But Sana, I think this particular scene was very striking. From the special, the song Special, and I want to kind of go through this, and it was very challenging, and it took longer than I expected. Like I planned this to be a quick study, quick painting, and I could have done it. I could have kept it simpler, but I ended up like, I need to push it more. I think this will look a lot better if I push it more and more. But I think how it came together was when I started to just work on everything instead of just one area, just making sure I zoom out, look at the reference for a little, for a while, instead of just glancing at just very quickly and putting each stroke of the brush down. I looked at the reference and spent some time, and then just soaked in like what I need to do, what's missing, what can I push more, and how can I push it further than, like, artistically further than what's on the reference. So I'll go through that really quick. I'll go through the time-lapse video. So just blocking in, same process. Just when I'm blocking in, I like to try to look at the big picture, the big, like the graphical shapes. Typically, I like to blur the image by squinting my eyes, looking at the reference, and seeing what are the values? What are the values that are grouped together when I do that, when I blur the image? And how can I shape it and try to set it up so I can get to the result more efficiently and quickly without struggling too much. So that's typically what I like to focus on, instead of if I focus on seeing the direct result, like why isn't it looking like this already? If I'm being impatient, I guess, then it just starts to fall apart and it gets harder and harder, and the process will be a lot more frustrating. So being aware of that, and knowing that it's going to turn out great, as long as I'm taking the right approach and taking completing one task at a time, one milestone at a time. That's what matters. So I think I was pretty happy. Like from the very beginning, it was coming pretty well together. I was making sure I'm not making any hasty decisions and making bold decisions. And it's not really like factory way of working on this process. It was pretty organic, which I really liked. It was pretty unexpected and more flexible, I would say. So I will share with you the biggest struggle I had with this piece was the hair. Like the hair of the reference. It's not like a typical hair that I'm used to drawing or painting. mean, first of all, it's very realistic hair. And realistic hair, you don't want to draw strand by strand. You can, but that's not the most effective way. The hair, they kind of group up into like graphical, big simplified shapes. Even the realistic ones. And at the end, once you have captured that, through like the way of shading and adding some subtle details of shadings and the highlights, that's where you can indicate that it looks realistic. And after that, you can add some like tiny strands all around, sticking out on the outer edges and the silhouette of the character. Even the strand, like small strands, like going down next to her face. That's what sells it to be realistic. But this one in particular, because her hair was pretty wet, and I've never really drawn or painted like wet hair, like realistic hair. That was pretty tough to do, tough to sell, and that's where it took longer than I was hoping for. It turned out pretty good. I was pretty satisfied with the end result. I could have taken a little bit further and made it even more, finished and defined. But what I decided to do was take more artistic and creative liberty and try to, capture the essence of it, but also inject some of my artistic sense by adding some, prismatic look to some details, like internal details of the strands, and instead of it being a flat, same color of the hair, I try to add like multiple color, like chromatic colors, and that made it pretty interesting and pushed it further than I wanted. So you can tell here, like the orange, some magenta and purples that I'm subtly adding, and it's kind of shifting, right? It's not just one color, it's just blending together, and that's what made it really fun and interesting. Even on her cheek, the outer edge of the cheek, the top of her eyelashes, the ends of the eyebrow. So that's what I had fun doing, and slowly starting to add more of the hair strands. And what I did was I made sure the hair was kind of curled and made it kind of curvy, because that's what I guess wet curly hair they do kind of have that look to them, right? And here I'm adding more of the details, very subtle detail. I try not to overdo it, and that's always the goal, is making sure everything, all the parts of the hair look pretty consistent. I'm not leaving any parts leaving it behind. I'm not only working on one area of the hair to be perfect. I'm making sure everything is just developing, progressing together cohesively. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. Like I made sure to zoom out and look at the reference, sometimes side by side, and took some time just observing, looking. And yeah, what made me just pick that reference to use as a study material was that the look that she gave in that screenshot of the music video. And I realized I was missing part of that, and it wasn't quite right. So I went back and made that tweak right here. Like, this is what I'm familiar with, but this is what I got out of from looking at the reference photo, and that kind of completed that look. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys to do the same and study from reference, and that's the best way to learn by yourself, is collecting more of the visual information, storing into your visual library to use later on. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.